I wanted to do another video because right now I finished a book called This Will Save Your Time. I could share right here. This really taught me, it's really teaching. So I've been doing a deep dive into the money system because I hear people, you know, at the 9-to-5 work, you hear like the common thing, people say prices are getting expensive, this and that. But my main question is like, do people understand why that's happening? Because a lot of people put the blame on corporations saying that they're greedy and stuff. But like, if you're an entrepreneur, you know that there's expenses and the costs that come into a business. And if you're an ethical entrepreneur, ethical businessman, the more money you make, it allows you to grow your businesses more. And when you grow your businesses, you produce more jobs, right? That's ethical. I'm not saying everybody's ethical. However, when people say that corporations are raising their businesses and they're price gouging and they're trying to take more money and be more greedy, that's not what's happening. Because you guys have to understand the difference between capital, currency, and money. The reason why prices raise is because in 1913, the Federal Reserve, right? They created the bank monetary system. And then in 1971, we debased from the gold standard into a fiat system, which is connected into the oil. You know, for me, it feels like this is like common knowledge, and I don't know if this is common knowledge for you guys because the information is out there. However, if you guys want me to go more on a rant and deep dive into that, I can. But let me know in the comments if you guys want me to. If not, we're gonna continue on. So, being that money is fiat and could be printed into infinity, the reason why prices go up is because there's more units, there's more dollars in the systems. So it's not the businesses, because when there's more units in the system, that means, I'll pause for a second. When there's more units in the system, that means the units that are in it become less valuable. Because if there's an infinity and an abundance, people don't respect that. It's just infinity. You can just spend this and there's gonna be more coming because it's always coming, right? So it's infinity. And when prices are infinity, they're always printing more money, less units, more units into the system. That's why things get more expensive, because the prices that they charge, it just went up, because since there's more units in the system, then why don't you have more money, right? But what does that do for the people who actually save? That means the money in your savings account is actually valued less. It looks like $10,000, but that $10,000 is really $9,800, or even worse, maybe $9,500. But you don't even see it because inflation is a hidden tax. And the only reason there is inflation is because there's always going to be more dollars printed into the system. Do you guys understand that? There's always going to be more dollars into the system. There is no stopping it. And here's the other thing. If I could link, there's a video 4, the money, it's a history. It's like not 10 minutes, it's like 29-minute video, a 29-minute video. I'll add this to the thing if I remember. Hopefully I remember it for y'all. But that's really important because it's gonna teach you. Yes. All right, John. There's infinity money being printed into the system. Isn't that affecting everybody? Yes, it is. But remember, the Federal Reserve is not connected to the government. So there's shareholders, right? So those shareholders get a 6% dividend. So even though there's inflation occurring, they're getting paid. So it's like double dipping, my guys. And if you feel pissed off about that, because you go to work, you go to your 9-to-5, you work your business, and you're providing value, you're hustling, you're giving your most important, valuable resource, which is your time. This time right now, the time I'm here, the time I'm recording, we're 4 minutes in, we're never getting that back. However, money, you can get it back. They're gonna print more dollars later. It don't matter. So, with that being said, when there's more units in the system, companies are forced to raise their prices because the prices that there are now is basically adjusted, that they're making a bit like similar, the same amount if they were compared to a year ago. Because remember, they say inflation goes up by 2% with the price index. However, they don't account for real estate. They don't account for real estate with those factors and other things. Well, didn't mean to get that on camera, but that's why prices go up. And it's inevitable. That's the only reason why real estate prices go up too. It's because there's more dollars into the system. I'm a realtor. I have my real estate business, and not all clients want to hear this, but that is really the main reason. It's not appreciation. It's because there's more appreciation is a factor into it. That does happen. But remember, there's always more dollars into the system. Each person that gets a home loan, let's say you get a home loan for $800,000. That's $800,000 into the system that they just created new money. Because remember, money isn't backed by anything. It's backed by fiat. It's okay. Hold on. For the people that are about to say, no. The money is backed by the government. Yes. Federal Reserve, right? The money is backed by the trust of the government. But in reality, it's just fiat. It's just paper. All the money, when you go to work and you get paid, you're getting paid by somebody else's debt. Because fiat, there's who knows, there may be 36 trillion now, because that shit goes up by like 2 million every single every minute and shit. Anyways, I digress. Look at the U.S. debt clock for what? Oh, that was a bug. Look at the U.S. debt clock for, I'll add that to the description here. So, when there's more, where am I chain of thought? No script on this video. Just talking off the dome, straight knowledge to educate my people, whoever chooses to listen. Because this will age well, because, time will only tell. So when there's more, I really forgot what I was saying, yo. I really lost my train of thought, yo, man, I apologize, guys. I really apologize. So it's inevitable. So, everybody gets paid by each other's debt because that's what fiat is backed by. It's backed by that promise that all debts will be paid. So that's why people get investments, because it's all debt. But then once it's paid off, you're free from the fucking slave system. Yeah, you have that. Auto loans are a factor into that, because when people get auto loans, that's more money into the system. Credit card, more money into the system. It's all being diluted. So what's the key to that? Y'all already know if y'all been watching me. But you guys have to figure out something. Money has to be associated with our time, because time is more valuable. So hear me on this. So you go to work. Let's say you work 8 to 10 hours, right? You got to also add the commute time to that. Then you give up 8 to 10 hours of your day. We all have 24 hours in a day. So you give up that time to go to work to get a paycheck, right? But that paycheck is somebody else's debt. Let's say you get $3,000 or $2,000 from your paycheck, right? But remember, you can't forget about taxes. So that $2,000 is $2,000 of infinity money, because remember, there's always printing money into the system. Look at the M1 supply system. Something like that. You just look it up on Google. M1 supply, and you'll see that you'll be able to see how they print the amount of dollars into the system, and how in 2020 the fucking cat went out of the box, man. That shit exploded in 2020, man. They printed so many motherfucking dollars that it always follows back to the system. Because remember, we as a society have been taught to invest into the stock market. And here's for those of you who are open-minded and are able to see through the system and see through the veil, when you look at the S&P 500, use that as a benchmark to really indicate what the actual inflation rate is. When you guys are able to see, if you're able to see through that veil, comment below, because we got to connect, yo. Because it's just crazy, man. Shit that's going on, and it's happening right before our own eyes. But here's the thing: you have to admit that the average person doesn't want to think about this shit, because you go to work for 8 to 10 hours, right? Then you have time with your spouse. You want to have your entertainment time. You want to have your leisure time, because shit, you just worked all day. But it's important that we know, so fuck it. If nobody's going to teach people, I'll fucking talk about these stuff, because I spend my time, I invest my time studying about this. And the books that I'm reading, it's probably not going to show here, but I recorded another video during my vlog of the books that I just got, so I'm learning right now. And it's shit, I already been studying this shit since really 2020. I woke up, but then I was investing into the stock market and all that shit. Still do, but now I'm all right, now it's time to reallocate those funds, because the reason why it's important to put your stuff into stocks and ETFs is because of inflation. There's always going to be more dollars printed out, and all the money's always going to be funneled into the main corporations, because it's all banking, y'all. Everybody's going to put money into the investment account. So It's a game, man. I don't know if I went on this 10-minute rant. I hope this was helpful. Main point, I left you guys hanging. So remember how earlier in the video, I said there's a difference between capital, money, and currency? So capital, you want to think about investments and your skill sets. All right, capital, investments, and your skill sets. When you want to think about money, you want to think about how to store your value, right? Because all money is just a store of value. Everybody thinks, oh, you got to get this money, you got to get this money. And you go to work, you get paid in money, right? Money, you don't want to store your value in dollars because it's always it's deflated. Because the dollar has lost like 96% of its purchasing power from when it first came in. So if you owe that $10,000, a few years later, that $10,000 will actually be worth $5,000. Jonathan, what the fuck do you mean by that? I got you. What I mean by that, it's your purchasing power. You save $10,000 today, but later, 5 years, you want to go purchase that, you want to use that $10,000 to buy that object or buy that thing that was worth $10,000 today. 5 years later, that shit gonna be worth $15,000 or $20,000, man. That's what I mean. We have to rewire our brain. It's all about purchasing power. So money is a store of value, and currency is what you trade for value. Currency is what is trading. When you go to stores, when you go to Target, when you go to Walmart, when you go to wherever the fuck you shop at, wherever you eat at, you're trading in currency. That is what you're doing. You're not trading in money, you're trading in currency. So currency is what you trade products for. That is what currency is. So currency is what you trade products and services for. Money is where you hold and store your value. And capital is investments and your skill sets. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Stay tuned. Come back for the next one.